Hey guys, happy Monday afternoon. It's Scott Stoltz with Create Your Great, and I am in Mark Allen Fine Clothing, Fine Clothier, Mark Allen in Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm with Cheryl Petteruti, and we are going to talk a little bit about wardrobe for a minute. So hang in with us because we're going to share some amazing and important and relevant lessons that I'm now learning about how critical wardrobe is to our career. Cheryl, good to see you again.
Nice. Thanks for coming.
Cheryl's been sharing some tips, and I'm actually wearing some clothes that you want to share what I have on right now, and I'll actually model it for our folks.
So we just put on a plain blue, soft blue, off-the-rack shirt that actually fits Scott quite well. His shoulders, it's right on his shoulder, which is critical. The length is good. He does not have a ton of shirt fat. It incorporates, so it gives him a nice silhouette, and it's still a very comfortable shirt. It's not form-fitted, and we actually took off his big baggy jeans and put on a pair of jeans that also fit him pretty well. So at Mark Allen Fine Clothier, we do have off-the-rack clothing that a lot of our clients can find that fits them pretty well. And then if you want it to have that more of that bespoke or custom look, we can have it altered for you.
Yeah, and Cheryl and I met a few weeks ago at a conference at Harvard, and we immediately made a connection talking about career work, and we're going to get into for a minute. I want to share a little bit about your story, which is awesome. Cheryl works here now at Mark Allen, but she's got some other history which contributes to what she's doing today to help people in their wardrobe, in their appearance, in their style. And what I'm learning from Cheryl today and in our first conversation the day we met is it actually does matter a lot how we present ourselves. And of course, we all know, and we've been hearing for years in our lives about how important first impressions are. But it also matters too, not just in verbally how we present ourselves, but those nonverbal cues. So can we share a little bit with the audience what you were telling me before about how important that first impression is and how we look?
So we have 7 seconds to make a first impression, and we don't have any control over that. That's what our brain is wired to do. We automatically and immediately judge somebody by how they look and how they dress. And when I met Scott that day at the conference, he said, well, I believe that somewhat. And I said, okay, so you're one of those guys who thinks that I should be impressed with you by what you know and not how you look. And that's not the case. If Scott had not been dressed well, and he wasn't dressed fancy, he was dressed well with a shirt like this, a pair of blue jeans, I probably would have not sat next to him, just because my brain is wired not to sit next to somebody that's got a soiled hoodie on and a pair of beat-up jeans. And so it really does. Clothing is the primary nonverbal instrument that we have in creating a positive first impression.
Yeah, I love getting that perspective and that insight. So I was sharing this with Cheryl earlier, that I've always been a little bit conscious about my clothes, but never really fully invested. And I do have friends, and some of you who are out there, if you see this, will know who I'm talking about, but I have some friends who are very into clothes and fashion, and I've always been kind of in and out. But as I started my business and Create Your Great and working as a career coach to help people, not only do I want to come across from a place of giving and sharing and where I know I can provide value, but I also want to present an image where people know that I do have myself together, that I'm taking care of myself, and that I'm consistent. So when we opened the door, Cheryl and I, to talking about this, a lot of that input really resonated with me.
Yeah.
And that first impression. And
even at our store, although we're an exclusive fine clothier store, our store is a relaxed atmosphere because we don't want to. You don't want to come in here, and you've gone into stores sometimes in Bergdorf, and you're in New York City on Fifth Avenue. You're afraid to touch anything. Everything's so perfectly neat, so organized. You don't want to be the one to pull the sweater because you need the extra large, and you know it's at the very bottom. You don't want to be the one, so you turn around. We talk about comfort, and it's lifestyle, and we were talking earlier about dressing well doesn't mean dressing up or dressing fancy. It's about understanding the culture of the environment, whether you're looking for a job interview, you're going in to ask for a promotion, you're going on a date, you're going to ask for a hand in marriage. How do you dress? How do you, when you first meet that person, what do you want them to think of you when they see you?
Yeah, it's such good information, and there's really nothing. The more I've gotten to know you, and the more I got to talk to Cheryl today, and she showed me around the shop, and we'll just spend a couple more minutes since you had me trying on clothes and some of the things that are going on in here. You know, I worry too, like, is it superficial? Not when I spoke with you, but I thought from time to time, you know, with the thought of dressing up, am I too worried about my appearance and the superficial side of it? But really what Cheryl is conveying and what we've talked about is it's true. There is substance behind it, and because it affects, right, our self-esteem and how we carry ourselves. What were you sharing with me earlier on that and how important that is? And the self-esteem part's really big.
Yeah, so we we talk about when you wear a shirt that fits, you wear your confidence on your sleeve. But when you wear something, and we all know that, there's sometimes you'll put on an outfit that you just know when you leave the house, it looks good, and you feel good. So when you engage the world that day, you engage with more confidence. That has nothing to do with how you're going to be perceived. Of course, you walk out and you've got this shirt on. You might get a compliment here or there with a great shirt, a great suit, but you've already felt good about it. So it just continues to build. There have been studies reported about women having bad hair days. When they have a bad hair day, they're 20% less effective in the workplace. 20%. Wow. So when you have a good hair day, you go out, you parade, you toss your hair, and you have a good time. You feel good about yourself. It's all about image. It's that positive image.
And you're right, that feeling that we get. I know, yeah, even for guys, when I leave the house feeling good, and we have bad hair days too, we just don't share it as much. Or if I feel like I typically have worn a lot of baggier, I'm like a mid-sized built guy. You know, I'm 6'1", 210, 215 pounds. And we talked about, like, I've always been a tweener, like between larges and extra larges with my pants. And I tended to wear baggier clothes. And I think I knew deep down that I wasn't really looking as good as I could. And I know that stuff creeps into your mind sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and you hang your head just not quite as high when you're doing that. And when you've got them on and you've got the more fitted garment on, again, whether it's a three-piece suit or a pair of jeans, a pair of shorts, and a leather pair of flip-flops with a great fitting polo shirt, you just walk out that door with your head held a little bit higher. And when you engage with people in that positive feeling, they in turn feel it also. And you have that whole polygamy effect where you are now affecting how other people feel too by the way you feel. And it's a great thing in the workplace to be able to have that positive image and be able to have people feel that from you, and then they in turn can feel it.
So true. It's all about energy and what we give off, and people are drawn to good energy, and we're sharing it because we're feeling good about ourselves. Cheryl Petteruti, Mark Allen Clothier. Hopefully I sound a little bit better that time. That's a new word for me. So let's spend the last minute or two because I know we have to wrap up. So we're upstairs, and if you're anywhere in the Providence area, make sure you look Mark Allen up. Check out Cheryl. I'll have her give some more of information at the very end. It's a very nice store with some great stuff, a lot of quality. What are some 2 or 3 nuggets about the clothes here that you would love to share with the group? Everything from style and type to where you get your clothes and...
Right. So we primarily deal with the finest mills and factories in the world. Most of our fabrics and our garments come from Italy. We have everything from off-the-rack shirts, shoes, belts, to made-to-measure suiting and made-to-measure trousers, and shirts, and pure bespoke. And if you don't know the difference, schedule a consultation, and I can teach you a little bit what's the difference between made-to-measure and what's the difference between that and bespoke.
I'm telling you, she knows a lot, and I'm so glad I came by today. I've learned a lot about clothes and about mindset talking to you, and I just want to show this one thing. So I've never been, and I know the camera's a little bit removed and further back, but here are spools. Maybe you should describe this, but when I saw this, and there's another one that my camera's on right now, but these are the spools of the material for shirts. And in this store, unlike any, I typically have shopped like a Joseph A. Bank and Men's Warehouse. You don't see these things, so you can pick from a bunch of different materials and stuff. So I should actually let you.
Yeah, no, but so it's a lot of times when you are looking at a swatch, it's hard to figure out what that swatch is going to look like. You can do imagery, a lot of these e-commerce sites send a picture, they'll send you, but there's nothing like feeling the garment, and then literally we can place it right on him. You look in the mirror and you know whether or not you like the blue and white gingham. And the same with suiting too. We can pull a suit and just hold this for 1 second. Okay, how can we wear this check suit pattern with this gingham? Absolutely. And there's a whole rule of how checks work. Is it the best option? Not necessarily, but if this is the only shirt that's in the closet that's clean and pressed, you can definitely throw it on with that sport coat.
Amazing. Good stuff. I like it. I'm definitely learning today. So remember, too, with what we've been talking about on the front, you got it all right?
Yep.
Of the wardrobe. Again, it's nothing shallow or superficial. It's that first impression combined with how we feel about ourselves as we take ourselves out to get in front of people and meet others. Any other you have a lot of wisdom. Any other parting shots of wisdom we can share?
We talked a lot about understanding the culture of the environment, where you're going, who you're going to meet. You need to understand that environment more so in the professional setting for your career. Scott and I were talking about if you finally got an interview with Google and you showed up in a 3-piece suit, you wouldn't fit in the culture of the Google environment. You walked into Wall Street with a pair of blue jeans and a nice sport coat, you're not going to fit in. So it's understanding the culture of the environment and never ever being afraid to be the best dressed person in a room. Not the most fancy, but the best dressed.
What a good note to end on. That's such good advice. I love it. Thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and we may revisit some of this in the future. Career work, thinking about how you dress affects you up here, in your heart, and the work that you're doing with others. I've always been drawn to people who look well put together. So I know a lot of other people are too. All right, thanks for checking us out today. Creating Your Great, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.